Sultan Selim I, also known as Selim the Grim, Yavuz Selim, was the ninth Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, reigning from 1512 to 1520. Born in 1470, Selim was the son of Sultan Bayezid II and a Georgian princess, Gulbahar Hatun. His reign, though brief, is often regarded as one of the most significant and transformative periods in Ottoman history. Selim earned the nickname Yavuz the Grim due to his decisive and harsh measures in both governance and military strategy, which made him a feared and respected ruler. Selim's early life was marked by his rivalry with his father's other sons. He spent much of his youth in the province of Khoram, where he developed a reputation for his military acumen and leadership skills. Upon Bayezid II's abdication in 1512, Selim ascended to the throne after defeating his brother Ahmet, who posed a threat to his rule. Selim's approach to securing power was swift and ruthless, leading to the elimination of his opposition, including his brother and other potential rivals. One of his key accomplishments was the military campaign against the Safavid Empire. In 1514, Selim I engaged in the Battle of Kaldran against the Safavids, a major turning point in Ottoman-Safavid relations. The Ottomans emerged victorious, which not only solidified Selim's power in the region, but also extended Ottoman control over vast territories in the Middle East. This victory laid the foundation for the Ottomans' future influence over Persia and the Shiite Safavid Empire, solidifying the Ottoman Empire as a major Sunni power. In addition to his military campaigns against the Safavids, Selim also focused on the Mamluks in Egypt. His conquest of Egypt in 1517 marked another key moment in his reign. The Mamluk Sultanate, which had been a powerful rival to the Ottomans in the region, was defeated. This victory led to the Ottomans gaining control of Egypt, the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, and the larger part of the Arabian Peninsula. The conquest of Egypt was of particular religious significance, as it granted the Ottomans control over the Islamic holy cities, thus reinforcing their claim as the protectors of Islam. Selim's expansionist policies extended the Ottoman Empire's territory significantly, transforming it into a global empire with vast influence in both the Middle East and North Africa. His conquests also enhanced the empire's strategic position by securing key trade routes and creating a more cohesive imperial structure. Despite his military prowess, Selim I was known for his ruthless nature. He was decisive and uncompromising, making him both a feared leader and a respected conqueror. His harsh methods of dealing with opposition, whether political or military, included executions and purges, which earned him a reputation for brutality. His leadership was marked by strong central authority, with a focus on strengthening the Sultan's power and eliminating potential threats, even if it meant resorting to extreme measures. Selim's reign also saw significant changes within the empire's administration and military. He took steps to centralize the state, reorganizing the military and strengthening the role of the Janissaries, the elite Ottoman infantry. This restructuring helped solidify the Ottoman military as one of the most formidable in the world at the time. Selim I's reign, however, was relatively short, lasting only 8 years before his death in 1520. He was succeeded by his son, Suleiman the Magnificent, who would go on to become one of the most famous and influential sultans in Ottoman history. Despite his relatively brief rule, Selim's legacy had a lasting impact on the Ottoman Empire. His conquests laid the groundwork for future Ottoman dominance in the Middle East and North Africa, and his control over the holy cities enhanced the empire's religious authority within the Islamic world. Selim's legacy is thus one of expansion, military success, and religious significance. His reign marked the beginning of a new era for the Ottoman Empire, which would continue to thrive under the leadership of his son, Suleiman. While his methods and character were often harsh and feared, his contributions to the empire's territorial growth and influence were undeniable, shaping the future of the Ottoman Empire for centuries to come. You said, Countanil. ChatGPT said, Selim I's contributions to the Ottoman Empire were not limited to military conquests. His reign also had significant cultural and administrative implications. His conquest of Egypt and the holy cities of Mecca and Medina greatly increased the Ottoman Empire's prestige in the Muslim world. By acquiring these sacred Islamic sites, Selim solidified the empire's role as the guardian of the Islamic faith, positioning the Ottoman sultans as the Caliphs of Islam, a title that would be central to the empire's political and religious legitimacy for centuries. The acquisition of Egypt also provided the Ottomans with immense economic benefits. Egypt had long been an important agricultural and trade hub, and its annexation by the Ottomans allowed the empire to control vital trade routes. The fertile lands of Egypt and the rich revenue from the region helped to further strengthen the empire's economy, providing Selim with the resources to expand the military and support the administration. Administratively, Selim's reign saw the continuation of the reforms initiated by his predecessors, but he also took steps to further centralize power within the Ottoman state. His reign saw the consolidation of imperial authority, reducing the influence of provincial governors and increasing the Sultan's direct control over the empire's vast territories. He appointed loyal and competent individuals to key positions, particularly in the newly acquired territories, ensuring the smooth integration of Egypt and the Arab regions into the Ottoman administrative framework. One of the other important aspects of Selim's reign was his relationship with the religious institutions of the empire. As a devout Muslim, he strengthened the religious role of the Sultan and enhanced the power of Islamic scholars and religious leaders within the Ottoman system. However, he also had to deal with internal conflicts within the empire, including the challenge posed by the growing power of the Shiite Safavids. His efforts to combat the spread of Shi'ism and to assert Sunni orthodoxy were part of his broader strategy to maintain control over the empire's diverse religious and ethnic populations. Despite his often harsh methods, Selim was also known for his intelligence and decisiveness. He was deeply involved in the affairs of his empire, ensuring that his policies were implemented effectively. His decision to place greater emphasis on the military, particularly the Janissaries, set the stage for the continued strength of the Ottoman military machine in the decades following his death. Additionally, his reforms and the strengthening of central authority helped to streamline the administration of the empire, making it more efficient and better equipped to handle the challenges it faced. Selim's personal life also influenced his reign. He had several wives and concubines, and his succession to the throne was marked by intrigue and conflict within the royal family. His son, Suleiman, succeeded him after his death in 1520, and while Selim's reign was relatively short, it set the stage for his son to become one of the most renowned Ottoman sultans in history. Suleiman the Magnificent would build on Selim's military successes and expand the empire even further, but it was Selim's. To maintain stability within the empire played a key role in his successes. His establishment of a more centralized Ottoman state, through reforms in governance, allowed for greater coordination and responsiveness, ensuring that the empire could manage its growing territories effectively. The system of governance Selim put in place empowered the sultans to manage vast and diverse regions, ranging from Europe to the Middle East and North Africa. Culturally, while Selim's reign was largely defined by his military conquests, the wealth and resources he accumulated through territorial expansion provided the foundation for the flourishing of the arts and architecture in later years. Selim's conquest brought great wealth to the empire, and as the Ottoman economy strengthened, so too did its cultural production. Selim may not have been the greatest patron of the arts, but his rule enabled his successors to further develop and promote Ottoman culture. Suleiman's reign, which followed Selim's, saw the rise of Ottoman artistic achievements in architecture, poetry, and calligraphy, often supported by the wealth generated during Selim's reign. The iconic Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul, commissioned by Suleiman, is a testament to the continued architectural legacy that flourished during the period. Though Selim's reign was short, it left an indelible mark on the trajectory of the Ottoman Empire. His militaristic focus and the expansion of Ottoman territorial holdings ensured that the empire would remain one of the dominant powers in the world for centuries. His legacy was not just about the land he acquired, but the power and stability he brought to the empire, laying the foundation for the empire's continued expansion and cultural development in the following century. The period of Selim I's rule represents a crucial turning point in Ottoman history. The empire, which had already been a major power, saw its global position solidified and its influence spread across much of the Islamic world and beyond. The political, military, and religious authority that Selim forged ensured the empire's enduring strength. In the centuries after Selim's death, his vision would be further built upon by his successors, most notably Suleiman, who expanded the empire even further. Ultimately, Sultan Selim I's reign is a story of decisive leadership, military genius, and expansion, which reshaped the balance of power in the Middle East and beyond. His actions solidified the Ottoman Empire as a dominant force in the world stage, and though his reign was brief, it laid the groundwork for the empire's peak in the 16th century and its continued presence as a formidable empire for centuries to come. You said, count anew. ChatGPT said, Selim I's legacy remained deeply embedded in the Ottoman Empire, even after his death, influencing the structure of the empire and the Sultanate's policies for generations. His success in consolidating Ottoman control over key regions like Egypt, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Holy Cities made the Ottomans more powerful and influential than ever before. His territorial acquisitions had not only expanded the empire's borders, but had strategically positioned the Ottomans as an unmatched military power and the spiritual leaders of the Muslim world. Despite his relatively short reign, Selim's aggressive expansionist policies shaped the empire's role in international relations. By expanding the empire into key territories, he ensured the Ottomans became deeply involved in the political dynamics of both the East and West. His empire was now deeply entrenched in the Mediterranean world, which was essential for trade routes and military dominance. Selim's military expertise and the empire's newfound wealth and strategic advantage laid the foundation for the continued expansion of Ottoman influence. This strategic positioning proved to be immensely valuable in the years that followed, particularly when the empire came into conflict with other rising European powers, such as the Habsburgs, Spain, and later Russia. One of the lasting impacts of Selim's reign was his establishment of a strong, centralized state. While earlier sultans had struggled with power decentralization, Selim's efforts ensured the consolidation of imperial authority in a way that would prove enduring. He ensured that the Sultanate remained the supreme authority, with the central government managing both military and civil affairs with a unified approach. This centralization enabled the Ottoman state to function more efficiently, making it possible to better manage the growing empire and address any internal dissent. Selim's reign was also marked by significant social and religious policy changes. By consolidating his control over the Islamic holy cities of Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem, Selim positioned the Ottoman Sultanate as the rightful guardian of Islam. This religious legitimacy became crucial not only for securing internal stability, but also for the Ottoman Sultan's role in the wider Muslim world. The claim to the caliphate allowed the Ottomans to influence and exert pressure over other Muslim rulers and communities, reinforcing the Sultan's position as the preeminent figure in Sunni Islam. Selim's decision to focus on strengthening Sunni orthodoxy while combating the spread of Shi'ism, particularly in the face of the Safavids in Persia, also contributed to shaping the empire's internal religious policies. Although Selim was known for his ruthlessness, particularly in eliminating rivals and centralizing power, his leadership brought a sense of stability to an empire that had previously struggled with internal fragmentation. This stability was crucial for the empire's survival and prosperity during his reign. The strategic control of critical territories like Egypt allowed the Ottomans to access new resources, including important agricultural and military assets. The subsequent integration of Egypt into the empire facilitated greater wealth generation, which helped fund the military and administrative apparatus, giving the Ottomans an advantage over their rivals. The military reforms initiated by Selim I, particularly in regard to the Janissary Corps, were vital in maintaining the military supremacy of the Ottoman Empire. Under his rule, the Janissaries were further integrated into the state apparatus, ensuring their loyalty and role in the empire's expansion. The Janissaries, an elite military corps that began as elite infantry made up of Christian boys taken through the Devshirme system, were crucial in both defending the empire and expanding its territories. Selim's efforts to make the Janissaries more disciplined and better organized set the stage for their continued prominence in Ottoman military affairs. This military professionalism would prove instrumental in the empire's success in wars of conquest and defense during both Selim's reign and the reign of his successors. Selim's impact on the Ottoman economy, particularly in terms of the wealth generated through territorial expansion, is also noteworthy. The riches gained from Egypt and other newly acquired regions allowed for increased investments in infrastructure, urbanization, and the growth of trade. Selim's conquest ensured that the Ottoman Empire controlled some of the most lucrative trade routes between Europe, Asia, and Africa, making it a vital center for commerce and the exchange of goods, especially in luxury items like spices, silk, and textiles. The new economic resources available to the Ottomans allowed them to grow their cultural institutions, fund public works, and exert further influence in the region. One of Selim's enduring legacies was the way in which he redefined the political and cultural role of the Ottoman Sultan. By conquering Egypt, he had ensured that the sultans would not only be rulers of a vast and powerful empire, but also spiritual leaders of the Islamic world. The Ottomans' claim to the caliphate, which Selim had strengthened by controlling the holy cities, became a central aspect of their identity as the leading Sunni Muslim state. This religious authority would be used as a source of legitimacy for the sultans, a role that continued under Suleiman and beyond, as the Ottomans positioned themselves as protectors of Islam. In addition to his military and religious achievements, Selim I's policies also had a lasting impact on the Ottoman economy. The vast new territories he acquired, especially Egypt, became crucial economic assets. The annexation of Egypt gave the Ottomans control over one of the most important agricultural and trade hubs in the region, particularly in terms of grain and other crops. Egypt also became a key source of revenue through its tax system and commercial networks, bolstering the Ottoman imperial treasury. Furthermore, Selim's military victories and the subsequent consolidation of his empire ensured the stability necessary for economic growth. By centralizing the empire's administration, he made it easier to manage and distribute resources across the vast territories. The Ottoman Empire, now an empire of immense wealth, became an essential center for trade and commerce between Europe, Asia, and Africa, helping to further integrate these regions into a global network of exchange. Selim's centralization also had lasting effects on the structure of the Ottoman government. His reign saw a shift toward a more centralized state, in which the Sultan held supreme power, and a focus on eliminating rival factions within the imperial court. This helped establish a strong, unified administration that could effectively oversee the empire's sprawling territories. These reforms would carry on through subsequent sultans, ensuring that the Ottoman state was better equipped to handle both internal and external challenges. The influence of Selim's administrative decisions would be felt for generations as the empire continued to grow and solidify its position as a major global power. Culturally, Selim's reign had a profound impact on the development of Ottoman art, architecture, and literature. While Selim himself was not known for his patronage of the arts to the extent of later sultans like Suleiman, his conquest brought new wealth and cultural influences to the empire. The influx of resources from Egypt, Syria, and the holy cities allowed the Ottomans to support their burgeoning cultural and intellectual pursuits. This period also witnessed the growth of Ottoman architecture, especially in the holy cities, as Selim's policies fostered a renewed sense of religious significance and pride in Ottoman heritage. On a broader scale, Selim I's reign marked the beginning of the Ottoman Empire's dominance in the Middle East. His victories not only gave the Ottomans control over crucial regions like Egypt and the Arabian Peninsula, but they also reshaped the political balance in the Islamic world. With the defeat of the Mamluks, the Ottomans effectively replaced them as the preeminent power in the Arab world. The capture of Mecca and Medina further solidified their position, as it made the Ottomans the custodians of Islam's most sacred cities. This religious and political prestige helped the Ottomans maintain their influence over Muslim populations and solidified their power as a major force in global politics. Selim's reign also introduced a certain level of military professionalism that would define the Ottoman army for generations. His reforms, particularly those related to the Janissaries, were instrumental in shaping the structure of the Ottoman military. By enhancing the strength of the Janissaries and incorporating more disciplined and skilled soldiers, he ensured that the empire's military would remain one of the most formidable in the world for centuries. Ultimately, Selim I's legacy is defined by his expansionist ambitions, his ability to consolidate power, and his role in shaping the religious and political landscape of the Ottoman Empire. He was a ruthless ruler, but also a pragmatic one, whose vision transformed the empire into one of the most powerful and enduring states in world history. While his reign was relatively short, it was foundational for the success of the empire in the 16th century and beyond. Sultan Selim I's impact continues to resonate in the historical narrative of the Ottoman Empire and its enduring influence on world history. You said, Continue. ChatGPT said, Selim I's influence continued to resonate well beyond the Ottoman Empire's borders. His expansion into Egypt and the Arabian Peninsula not only secured key geopolitical territory, but also extended the empire's reach into some of the most historically significant regions in the Muslim world. His role in shaping Ottoman imperial policy had ramifications beyond the empire's immediate territorial ambitions. His conquest of Egypt marked the beginning of Ottoman dominance in the region, affecting not only politics but also trade, culture, and religious authority. Following Selim's victory at the Battle of Chaldiran and the subsequent conquest of Egypt, the Ottomans became central to the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. The possession of Egypt and the Arabian Peninsula, along with their spiritual leadership over the Muslim world, positioned the Ottoman sultans as major players in both political and religious matters, something that would remain integral to Ottoman policy for centuries. The empire's authority as the protector of the Islamic faith, supported by Selim's conquest of Mecca and Medina, made the Ottomans the preeminent Sunni power in the Islamic world. This influence extended throughout the Muslim world, shaping Ottoman relations with both fellow Sunni states and their Shiite rivals. Selim's influence also spread throughout the broader Mediterranean region. As the Ottomans became increasingly dominant, they controlled vital maritime routes. This allowed them to exert influence over trade between Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Through this control of the Mediterranean, the Ottomans became a crucial power in the East-West exchange of goods, culture, and ideas. Selim's reign, marked by a commitment to military conquest and strategic territorial acquisitions, laid the groundwork for the empire's future as a global power, capable of influencing major events across multiple continents. Selim's consolidation of power and military reforms ensured that the Ottoman Empire's military strength would remain unmatched for generations. His military tactics, particularly in the Battle of Chaldiran, showed his ability to employ decisive strategies. His success against the Safavids and the Mamluks was not only a military achievement, but also a reflection of his effective leadership. By expanding and modernizing the Ottoman military apparatus, Selim ensured that the empire's military forces were always prepared to engage in the conflicts that would follow, especially during the reign of his son, Sulayman the Magnificent. Sulayman's military campaigns were able to build upon the foundation laid by Selim, with the Ottoman army becoming a formidable force in both land and sea battles. Despite his image as a strict and harsh ruler, Selim's ability, strong leadership, and strategic vision that laid the groundwork for the empire's continued rise in power. Selim's legacy was also defined by the fear he instilled in both his enemies and his own subjects. His methods were often brutal, and his military campaigns were marked by extreme measures that ensured his dominance over rivals and secured his conquests. While many Ottoman sultans would go on to rule for longer periods and engage in more diplomatic or cultural endeavors, Selim I's reign was primarily defined by his ferocity and his commitment to expanding and consolidating Ottoman power. His sudden death in 1520 at the age of 50 left the empire in the capable hands of his son, but the empire itself had already been transformed by Selim's conquests and reforms. He had created an empire that was stronger, more centralized, and more strategically positioned than before. Under his leadership, the Ottoman Empire expanded its borders significantly, gained new wealth, and reinforced its status as a dominant power in the Muslim world and beyond. Today, Sultan Selim I is remembered as one of the most decisive and transformative figures in Ottoman history. His aggressive expansionism, coupled with his strategic vision and military prowess, reshaped the Middle East and laid the foundation for the empire's future growth. Though his reign was short, his influence on the course of Ottoman history was profound, and he remains a significant figure in the annals of the empire's history. You said, Countinu. ChatGPT said, after Selim I's death in 1520, the Ottoman Empire, now a vast and powerful state, continued to prosper under the rule of his son, Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. While Selim had laid the groundwork for Ottoman dominance, it was under Suleiman's reign that the empire reached its zenith, both militarily and culturally. However, Selim's contributions were crucial in making this possible. His military conquests, administrative reforms, and the expansion of Ottoman religious influence laid the foundation upon which Suleiman could build. Selim's strategic vision also left a lasting impact on the structure of the Ottoman military and state administration. His campaigns against the Safavids and Mamluks not only expanded the empire's territorial holdings, but also greatly enriched its military capabilities. The acquisition of Egypt brought with it the powerful Egyptian naval fleet and important resources, further augmenting the Ottoman naval presence in the Mediterranean. This helped establish the Ottomans as a formidable naval power, which was crucial for future conflicts with European and North African powers. Moreover, Selim's decision to solidify Ottoman authority over the holy cities of Mecca and Medina had far-reaching effects. By controlling these sacred sites, the Ottomans became the central authority in the Muslim world, and this religious legitimacy helped further cement their rule over vast territories. This religious significance made the Ottoman sultans not just political rulers, but spiritual leaders of the Islamic world. This claim to religious leadership would become an important part of Ottoman foreign policy and their identity in subsequent centuries. In terms of governance, Selim's centralization efforts laid the foundation for the empire's more efficient administration. By appointing capable administrators and consolidating the sultan's authority, he helped create a more cohesive imperial structure that was capable of managing the diverse and vast territories the empire controlled. His legacy in this regard was particularly important, as it allowed the empire to function more effectively and respond to internal and external challenges in the years after his death. Selim's reign also marked a turning point in the history of the Ottoman Empire's relationship with Europe. His military successes, particularly against the Safavids and Mamluks, gave the Ottomans an edge in their dealings with European powers. The empire became an increasingly important player in European geopolitics, and this shift towards an imperial presence in both the East and West helped set the stage for the Ottoman Empire's role in the complex dynamics of European power struggles, especially during the reigns of Suleiman the Magnificent and his successors. While Selim's reign was largely characterized by military conquest, it was also marked by religious and cultural developments. His control over the Islamic holy cities not only bolstered his religious authority, but also made the Ottomans the protectors of Islam in the eyes of many Muslim communities. His religious policies focused on preserving Sunni orthodoxy, especially in opposition to the rising influence of Shiite Islam, which was becoming more entrenched in Persia under the Safavid dynasty. Selim's approach was designed to maintain the empire's unity by ensuring that the Sunni majority remained politically dominant. However, Selim's reign was not without its internal challenges. The swift and ruthless measures he employed to eliminate political rivals and centralize power created an atmosphere of fear, and his reign was marked by a series of purges and executions. This harsh leadership style often led to unrest among the elite, and the Ottomans faced the ongoing challenge of balancing imperial centralization with the complexities of governing a multi-ethnic and multi-religious empire. Nevertheless, Selim's firm grip on power ensured stability and unity during a critical period of Ottoman expansion. In historical hindsight, Selim I is remembered not just as a conqueror, but as a shrewd and pragmatic ruler who was unafraid to make difficult decisions, often at great cost. His military conquest dramatically expanded Ottoman territory, brought wealth and resources into the empire, and significantly altered the political and religious landscape of the Middle East. He also established the Ottoman sultans as the dominant power in the Islamic world, a legacy that continued well beyond his death. His reign set the stage for the later cultural, military, and economic flourishing of the Ottoman Empire, which, under Suleiman the Magnificent, would become one of the world's most influential empires. Though Selim's reign was marked by a constant drive for expansion and consolidation, it also set the course for the Ottoman Empire to become a dominant force not only in the Middle East, but also in Europe and Africa. His legacy is one of bold leadership, military excellence, and religious significance, and his actions paved the way for the Ottomans to become one of the most enduring empires in world history. You said, Countinu. ChatGPT said, Selim I's influence on the Ottoman Empire continued to reverberate long after his death in 1520. His reign had transformed the empire both territorially and politically, and his military conquests had paved the way for future expansion under his son, Suleiman the Magnificent. Suleiman, often regarded as the greatest of the Ottoman sultans, inherited an empire that was already a formidable power due to his father's groundwork. Suleiman the Magnificent built on Selim's military achievements, expanding Ottoman influence in Europe, the Mediterranean, and beyond. While Selim's victories over the Safavids and Mamluks solidified Ottoman dominance in the East, Suleiman's conquest brought the empire to the peak of its territorial expansion, particularly in Europe. However, it was Selim's earlier decision to take control of key territories, such as Egypt and the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, that laid the foundation for Suleiman to